In this lesson, we're going to look at solving inequalities with a few more steps than the ones we saw yesterday. Remember, when you're solving an equation or an inequality, you simply use order of operations backwards, follow the golden rule, whatever you do to one side you do to the other, and the additional step to remember when you're solving inequalities is if you have multiplication or division by a negative, you'll have to flip the inequality symbol. Starting off with example 1, we have like terms. They are on the same side of the equal sign, so we're going to do what it says. And it says 6x plus 6x, which gives me a total of 12x. Canceling my addition before I cancel my multiplication, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And finally, canceling that multiplication by dividing both sides by 12, I get x is less than 1. With your inequalities, you also want to put it on a graph. The solution is not only the inequality x is less than 1, it's also the graph that goes with it that gives us that visual representation of all possible solutions for our inequality. Starting off, because this is x is less than, there's no or equal to, we're going to have an open circle because 1 is not a solution to the inequality. And then x is less than, so we shade left. Less than shades left, greater than shades to the right. Same process, distributing our 2 on this one before we combine any like terms we might have. We have 10x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 6x plus 12. Whenever I have variables on both sides of the equal sign, I like to get those together first before I get my regular numbers together, and I always move the one with the smaller coefficient. It's helpful to do that with equations. With inequalities, it's really, really helpful because then you will always end up with a positive coefficient and you won't have to keep track of your negative sign and flipping the inequality. So I have 4x, positive 4x, minus 8 is greater than or equal to 12, adding 8 to both sides. I have 4x is greater than or equal to 20. And now I get to divide by a positive, which means I do not have to flip the inequality. So I get x is greater than or equal to 5. Putting this on a number line, remember, put that solution in the middle. One value greater, one value smaller. This time we have x is greater than or equal to, so we will have a closed circle. Again, that means that 5 is a solution to our inequality, and greater than shades to the right. Example 3, combining like terms on both sides of the equal sign, 5x plus 2x. Notice that minus sign goes with the 11, so we are adding our x's together, not subtracting 2x from 5x. 2x plus 7x gives us 9x on the right-hand side. Again, when I'm getting my variables together, I like to move the variable that has a smaller coefficient, so I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. Negative 11 is less than or equal to 2x minus 7. Adding 7 to both sides, we get negative 4 is less than or equal to 2x. Notice the value we're dividing by is positive. Yes, our answer is negative. We're dividing into a negative, but the 2 that we're dividing both sides of the inequality by is positive, so we do not flip the inequality symbol. However, x is on the right side. It's easier to read when it's on the left, so now I'm just going to go completely backwards, flipping that inequality symbol around. We get x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Setting up my number line, putting your solution in the middle. One value greater, be careful when they're negative, it looks like it's backwards. One value smaller off to the left. We have greater than or equal to, which means negative 2 is a solution, and greater than shades to the right. Last example, we've got distributive property on both sides. So we've got 2x plus 8 when we distribute on the left-hand side, greater than 5x minus 5. Make sure you do not distribute that 5 to the 4. That's outside the grouping symbols. On the right-hand side, we have like terms, negative 5 plus 4, so we'll combine those, giving us 5x minus 1. When we get our variables together, moving the term with the smaller coefficient, subtracting 2x from both sides. We're left with negative 8, because we keep track of our negative signs, is greater than 3x minus 1. Adding 1 to both sides to cancel that subtraction. We get negative 7 is greater than 3x. And finally, canceling our multiplication by dividing, we get negative 7/3 is greater than x. So before we graph this one, we can flip everything around. X is less than negative 7/3. So here's how you do a number line when you've got a fraction. Put that fraction in the middle, and then you just have to change the numerator. So when we go one value bigger, we get negative 6/3, which equals negative 2. And one value smaller, we get negative 8/3. This time we have x is less than, so we have an open circle because negative 7/3 is not a solution, and less than shades left. Finally, your 2U try questions.